Okay, we have now 6 participants. We have Mr. Mateen, Mr. Qadir, Mr. Asif, Mr. Qasim, Mr. Sunil. Um, so I will start slowly like that with introduction until they join us. Okay. So my dear, can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So this lecture is about letter of credit. Somebody use abbreviation LOC or L/C, whatever it is. In the end, it's a tool, it's a financial tool. So can anyone give me some hints when you hear the word letter of credit? What do you think it is?
A letter of credit is a bank guarantee
Okay.
that a buyer's payment to a seller
Yeah.
will be received on time and the
Great.
correct amount.
Great. Great. That's correct, because if there is one seller in an overseas country and a buyer is in another country, both of them will be feeling some suspicious. If I send you the goods, you may not pay on time, and if the seller asks the buyer to pay in advance, okay, the buyer may pay in advance and never receive the goods. So someone should be there to guarantee that payment will be done on time, cargo will arrive on time. So banks are interfering here as intermediaries between the buyer and the seller. But why we study this subject? Why do we study the LC, the letter of credit? Any idea why we study this one? And we are going through a lot of details, which is financial details. As shipping people and logistics people, we are not concerned with too much with financial details because the people of account will deal with that. But LC should be understood by the sales and the operation people because normally you will find a shipper talking to you if you are loading some cargo for a shipper. You will always hear remarks like, please put this and that in the bill of lading. You ask him why, he said, okay, because this is stated in the letter of credit. The shipper and the receiver of goods, they agree together to some guidelines and some restrictions and instructions in the letter of credit. This instruction should be followed when you prepare the bill of lading and when you load the cargo. For example, the letter of credit can state a specific date for loading. If you tell your customer, for example, my ship is arriving on the 21st, he said no, he can say no. My letter of credit stating that shipment should be done before the 20th, for example. So he is obliged to load before the date which is set in the bill of lading. They will also dictate some statements to be placed in the face of the bill of lading, like shipped on board, clean bill of lading, how many originals should be there. You will find these statements in the face of the bill of lading. Shipped on board, you will find that this one is stated in the letter of credit. So we should oblige by the instructions in the bill of lading. Again, they can put to order bank. When I see to order bank, immediately I will understand this shipment is based on letter of credit. Correct?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, because now the consignee is bank. The consignee is not the actual consignee. The consignee is a bank. So this bank naturally is involved in the payment and dispatch of money, dispatch of document during the letter of credit operation. So actually, it's a promise by a bank on behalf of the buyer to pay the seller through his bank. You know, we have here two banks. We have bank of the buyer and bank of the seller. Two banks are involved. We do this to guarantee payment and to guarantee the safeguarding of interest of both shipper and receiver of goods. So sometimes they call the letter of credit documentary credit. Sometimes they call it like that. Bankers commercial credit, letter of undertaking. But normally the most common term is letter of credit or documentary credit. Most people are using letter of credit. This is a sample of a letter of credit. You will find issue date. This is the type of letter of credit, irrevocable. There are many types of letters of credit. Irrevocable, what is the meaning of the word irrevocable?
If one issue we cannot take back, it is
Great,
irrevocable.
great. Irrevocable is a kind of letter of credit which after issuing you cannot cancel or invalidate, because there is another kind of letter of credit called revocable. In this case, after issuing the bill of lading, issuing the letter of credit, the buyer can cancel the letter of credit, which is, you know, very dangerous, because he may cancel the letter of credit when already the goods were shipped, or when the shipper or exporter in the other side is already in the middle of preparing the export. So that's why there are, you know, many types of letter of credits. Among them is revocable, irrevocable. You will find amount of money, expiration date, all details of shipper and exporter, many other details, how many number of bill of lading they need, what is the date, banks, and a lot of details. You know, this is a short form of letter of credit. But you know, every bank and every country they have their own form of letter of credit. So they are common in international trade. Importers and exporters regularly use these letters of credit to protect themselves. Okay. Bank, by the way, the bank will interact here as intermediary party, you know. But the bank can do some other services. For example, now I want to open a letter of credit, and then the cargo will arrive, and then I have to pay money as a buyer, but I don't have money, so I can take loan from the bank. So the bank is using this letter of credit for many purposes. You can take a loan basis of the letter of credit, and like that they can do a lot of business out of this letter of credit. They said here, if you are a shipping line, you will be hearing all the time from the shipper, I want so and so in the bill of lading. If you are a free forwarder also or agent, you will hear this request many times, and sometimes we have to amend the bill of lading many times. It is very tiring when we are working with people with letter of credit. Sometimes they ask for terms which can cause us some problems, so we have to go back to the shipping line to have their permission, because everyone should uh, apply the wording which is there in the letter of credit in the bills of lading. If you didn't adhere to the wording which is in the letter of credit, a buyer may be losing time and money and everything, because the seller may refuse to accept the letter of credit. There are agreements, they have agreement together in the sales agreement, and then we have to adhere to the wording of the letter of credit. It is, of course, for seller protection and buyer protection, to safeguard the interest of both parties, seller and buyer. Again, we just want to know what is UCP. UCP is Uniform Custom and Practice 600. These are a group of instructions given by International Chamber of Commerce to guideline the banks on the way the letter of credit should be issued and dealt with. So the International Chamber of Commerce has issued some group of instructions, guidance to the banks called UCP 600. So if you hear the word UCP 600, that means the rules behind the letter of credit, which was initially issued by International Chamber of Commerce. Can you recall from our last few lectures, what are the other rules we studied, which was issued by ICC? Can you remember? Come on, my friends, you should remember this one. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
doctor.
yes, yes, I can hear.
You remember we have studied the Incoterms. Incoterms. All the Incoterms are issued by ICC. You remember this one? We studied the Incoterms, FOB, CIF, X-Work. You remember those one?
Yes.
All these are issued also by ICC. So I feel that I know it's a heavy subject, the letter of credit, but I want you to be aware of these steps. So whenever you have any questions, just share with me. Any ideas, just share with us, with the group. Okay, shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Any issues with all we have discussed before? Any issue?
No, it's okay. Incoterms also has been this one designed by ICC.
Yeah, okay.
As per this one IATA, International Air Transport Association.
Okay, great.
I mean, our shipping line.
Yeah, again, the UCP is issued by ICC, which covers the letter of credit. Okay, so as a seller, you ask for that because you want to be confident of payment. You don't know, maybe you are dealing for the first time with this is exporter or importer. To avoid all this, you insist on having a letter of credit. Maybe I feel you are a little bit maybe confused. So before going further, I will try to show you the technique, how it works. Maybe seeing the techniques will give you more clearer picture about this practice. You see? So now I like to buy. Who is this one? This is a buyer. Okay, I like to sell. This is the exporter. Fine?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
The buyer, in the language of letter of credit, we call it applicant. Okay? Buyer will be calling them applicant. The buyer is an applicant. Why we call this applicant? Because he is the one who will apply to open the LC. Fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
And the exporter, we will call him beneficiary, because he is the one who will get the money, you know.
Yes, doctor.
Exporter will send the goods and then receive money from the buyer. That's why they, in the LC terminology, they call the buyer applicant, and then they call the seller beneficiary. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So what will happen? What will happen? I am now an applicant who is sitting in Saudi Arabia. Okay, I am an applicant. I am AFEX. AFEX now want to import some spare parts from China. All right. So AFEX want to import trucks and spare parts and something like that in millions of dollars. So they want to open and a letter of credit in Saudi bank, Al-Ahli bank. Okay, so you will go to the bank and you will ask for the form. You will tell the bank, give me a letter of credit form. All right, and then you will fill the form. You will put your name as a receiver. But before that, you should have an agreement with the exporter in China. You agreed for everything. Invoice, you agreed for the number of pieces, price, everything. Now you have the deal ready. The deal is ready. But now is the problem is the payment. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go to the Saudi bank. I am AFEX. I go to the Saudi bank and I apply for letter of credit. I tell the bank, there is a company in China. We want to import trucks from China. And then we will open letter of credit with amount of 1 million US dollar. For example, you didn't pay anything. You just apply for the letter of credit. Okay. You show the amount, everything, name of the owner of the company, a stamp should be original, everything. And then the bank will tell, okay, now we will tell the seller that you have opened a LOC, letter of credit. They will send the letter of credit to the seller bank. Okay, now when you do the agreement, you know the bank of the exporter in China. Okay, easy?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Now the seller bank in China, because the beneficiary is one of his clients, you know, so he will contact him and said, please come to the bank because AFEX in Saudi Arabia has opened an LC in your name, an amount and everything. So please come to check this one, or they send it by mail or whatever. Now what he will do, the beneficiary, what he will do? He will do a lot of things. Now everything will be in this moment on the shoulder of the exporter. The exporter, first of all, will check the letter of credit. Is it okay? Is it by agreement? Is it okay? Is it correct? Per our agreement? Is it compatible with what we agreed with affix? The amount of money, cost, time of shipment, how many units, everything. If everything is okay, now he will prepare the shipment. Okay, he will prepare the shipment and ship it or immediately. He will ship the goods and return after shipping the goods. What he will get from the line? Can you tell me?
BL.
BL, great. The original BL. The
Yes.
original BL. Who is the consignee in the original BL?
Bank.
The bank.
The Bank of Affix in Riyadh.
Affects,
Yes.
yes.
The original will be sent back to the seller bank to be sent to the applicant bank. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we will ask Mr. Mateen to go to the bank to receive the original bill of lading. Do you think they will give him the original bill of lading?
No,
Why?
because it has to be shipment has to be delivered and get it attested by the receiving bank.
Okay, the shipment already has done. He
the
has
Apex
done.
bank.
Okay, the shipment has done because after the seller exporters puts the shipment on board the vessel or ship, he will receive the documents. Already the shipment has done. But if you go now, you want the bill of lading to receive your goods. They will tell you no, you cannot get the original bill before you pay the buyer his money. You got my point?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
will pay, Mr. Mateen will pay $1 million in the bank, and then he will receive the original bills. Now he can get the cargo from the port. And at this moment, they will transfer the money to the seller bank. You see?
Yes.
So in this way, everyone is safe. You are safe because you receive the bills of lading, and the cargo is ready. He is safe because he will receive his money through the bank. This is the function of the letter of credit. You see, so it's like that. Now the exporter has sent the shipment to the port, to Saudi Arabia. Now they will tell you, please come and collect the bills of lading, but you have to pay. You have to pay them the money which belongs to the seller bank. They will send the money to the seller bank, and then the seller bank will deliver the money to the beneficiary. This way, everyone is satisfied, everyone is secured because everything is going through banks. We cannot receive the goods without paying, and also he will not ask for his money before the original bills of lading arrived and the goods arrived. Okay, so I think it's clear now. What do you think?
Yes, yes, it's very
Yes,
much
doctor.
clear.
Clear.
Any doubt? Any doubt?
No,
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 doctor.
nothing.
Okay. So let's see some terminology here. They call the importer or the buyer. They call him.
Doctor?
Yes, dear.
Yeah, I have one question. What
Go
is
ahead.
this document collection?
Document collection. One moment.
Yeah.
Document collection okay. Sorry. Which one, dear? Which one? documents. This one or this one? This one or this one? The one in the seller bank or buyer bank?
Buyer bank.
Buyer bank or buyer bank. And now the seller will receive the bills of lading, the original bills of lading from the beneficiary, from the exporter. Okay, the original
Okay.
bills, and then he will
Yeah.
send it to the buyer bank. Fine. These documents, again, the same documents. They are the original bills of lading. You see, but this one, the consignee, maybe to order bank, they have to stamp, endorse the bill of lading. You see, they have to stamp it. What the stamp say? They please deliver to affix in the back of the bill of lading or in the face, whatever. But they should stamp after you pay.
They will stamp.
Yeah, they will stamp after you pay the amount to the buyer bank to send it again. You see, so this is the money. This one. After you pay, they will deliver you the documents stamped, and then they will send the money to the seller bank.
Seller banks. Okay.
So the two banks guaranteeing the payment, and the two banks guaranteeing the documents flow, and the two banks guarantee that the shipment is going on the right way. That's why it is secured, to deal with letter of credit. Clear now?
Yeah, clear, doctor. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. What we were talking about this some terminology, because the buyer, they call him the applicant. Okay, he is the one who apply to open the letter of credit. Beneficiary is the exporter. He will receive the money. He will receive the payment. Issuing bank is the bank of the applicant, because he is the bank who issue the letter of credit. Negotiating bank is the bank of the receiver, of the seller, of the exporter. This is the negotiating bank, the bank in the country of the exporter. Sometimes they have third bank called the confirming bank. For example, if you import goods from an area which is not secured, let's say you are sending money, importing goods from, for example, Sudan or Somalia or whatever. You may say, no, I am not trusting the Somali bank. We need a third bank in the middle, to confirm the operation. They want a bank who can guarantee the Somali bank in front of the other bank. It's a bank which is, confirming or giving confidence, because that happened with us many times. Sometimes cargo are coming from Ethiopia, for example, to another country, and then you will find the exporters say, I do not trust the Ethiopian bank. I do not trust Kenya bank. We need a third bank in the middle. So, for example, we go Ethiopia, let's check, we find, for example, in Djibouti, for example, bank, a branch of HSBC or a branch of international bank like Barclays Bank or HSBC in another country, he will be introducing in the middle as confirming bank, but he will get some commission, So you may involve many banks. You may involve another bank called advising bank, but the main two banks are the bank of the exporter and the bank of the buyer. Intermediary, also this could be a broker. A broker could be there, not a bank. This could be a company or something. Intermediary could be a broker between the shipper and the receiver, between the seller and the receiver. A freight forwarder, of course, freight forwarder. Shipper, the shipper. Legal counsel is a firm that advise applicant on how to deal with the letter of credit. So again, this is the operation. You have seen them. Buying letter of credit, request, and then exchanging document, and then exchanging payments. And this is an overview of the whole operation. So as we said before, issuance is the first step, which is done by whom? Who is doing the issuance?
Buyer.
The buyer. The buyer will do the issuance. And this, of course, after agreeing to the terms in the sale contract, in the sale agreement, they will issue the LC. Of course, the seller will demand that to be in the safe side. But there is one point here. The sales agreement is not part of the letter of credit, which means negotiation prices and all these things are in the sales contract. Sales contract is an issue, and letter of credit is another issue. The letter of credit is not a sales contract. You got my point?
Yeah.
It is not a sales contract. This one is not a sales contract. It is only a tool to guarantee payment. It has nothing to do with the sales contract. After we agree on the sales terms, we issue the letter of credit. Now, issuing the letter of credit, which will be done by the
Buyer.
by whom? By whom?
By the buyer.
By the buyer bank. Issuing the LOC by the buyer bank. In the LOC, you will find how much is the payment, what is the name and address of the seller, the beneficiary, how will the seller ship the goods, timing, number of bills of lading, what are the terms on the bill of lading. There is also, when you open an LOC, you have to pay charges to the bank,